Coffee is more than a beverage to keep you going throughout the day. It's a ritual, a moment to yourself in the morning. But could it also be a tool for HR to create collaboration, connection, and belonging in the workplace? Welcome to Honest HR, where we turn the real issues facing today's HR departments into honest conversations with actionable insights. I'm your host, Nicole Blina. Let's get honest. Today, we're exploring how something as simple as a coffee ritual can reveal powerful insights about engagement, retention, and company culture. We'll unpack how these rituals can strengthen collaboration and a sense of belonging, how HR leaders can learn from intentional moments of connection, and how these insights can improve employee performance. For today's guest, coffee has never been just coffee. It's been a constant, from being a Starbucks customer 4 times a day, to putting on the green apron, to building her way up the ladder as a director of the company. We're so happy to welcome Sandy Roberts, Director of Cultural Leadership from Starbucks, to the show. Thanks for joining Honest HR, Sandy.
Thank you for having me.
So before we dive into today's conversation, I heard there's a tradition that Starbucks incorporates with every new hire called the first sip.
Yes.
And so I understand that's a moment to pause and connect. And it feels like the perfect way to start this episode. So in the spirit of collaboration and culture, our production team will be joining in on the fun.
I love it. I love it.
All
And,
right.
and y'all have something in your cup, right? Okay.
Absolutely. All right.
So, and this is one of our rituals at Starbucks. And let's just take a little smell. Like, what do you smell?
Oh, yeah. I smell, it's really rich.
And
Maybe almost a little chocolatey, little nutty.
a little cocoa, a little nutty. And also, it's okay if all you smell is coffee, because we're
Okay.
all on a journey. And then we get to give it a big slurp, right? So let's come in and give it a slurp. And you're really working to just spray the coffee over your palate and kind of locate it on your tongue. Is it right down the middle? Is it on the sides? Do you get some of the aroma of the cocoa and maybe a little flavor of the cocoa and the drying on the sides of your tongue? It's a journey that to me is never ending. And it always opens up a new door to a new conversation.
It does. I mean, for me, coffee always gives me kind of a hug, right? So that really is the first sip concept. I just love it so much.
Yeah, we do call that the mug hug.
Oh, perfect. All right. Well, let's dive right in here if you're ready to go, and please we'll keep sipping on our coffee throughout. So SHRM recently released the 2026 Global Workplace Culture Report, which surveyed over 27,000 workers across countries that found culture is shaped by strategy and values, not industry. Starbucks operates at a massive global scale. So how do you intentionally design organizational-wide culture so that it resonates with staff across the globe?
Yeah, I think we have actually kept it really simple. Like when it comes down to it, it's a cup of coffee and a conversation. And I think that makes it approachable no matter where you are. And I have been around the world and having coffee in Rwanda. I've had coffee in Sumatra, Indonesia. I can remember this moment that I had coffee with a partner in Costa Rica. And her name is Well, and she spoke Spanish. I only speak English. But it didn't matter because I could still feel her passion, her care, her love for what she did. And that started a lifelong friendship. I've learned a little Spanish. She's learned a lot more English. But I think when you keep it simple and you put it in the hands of your partners, that's when it comes to life. And you can call it a strategy. You can call it all of, tactical. You can put it as a priority. But what it comes down to is you have your partners or your employees believing in it and actively participating in it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like coffee is the universal language,
It
right?
is.
So, what intentional rituals or practices has Starbucks implemented to create moments of connection among employees that HR teams could use?
We do surround things a lot with coffee. But, to me, it's creating these moments that where we can all gather. Whether it's a first sip when a new partner joins Starbucks or starts a new role with a new leader and just making the space and time. I think for us as partners at Starbucks, our culture is so much how we treat each other that giving everybody permission in a very busy world to take a moment is critical. I think the other thing is whether I was just in it for a partner who's celebrating her 17-year anniversary, and we celebrated her. And of course, we celebrated over a cup of coffee. So you have these moments and milestones, not only professionally, but personally, where coffee weaves in. The other things I think for Starbucks is we're a very mission and values driven company. And part of recognition is woven directly into what we see as our mission and values. And so tying those two programs together has continued to refine and help our culture live. They get it a little bit more. There's something, I have coffee in the cup and it's tangible, but sometimes in recognition, how do you tie it together? You make those values not only something you feel and how you behave, but you actually have something that recognizes it and it's tangible.
And I mean, we both know culture is complicated. For instance, a company may institute a weekly all hands coffee chat to promote connection, but introverted or neurodivergent team members may feel drained or pressured to socially perform in those scenarios. Or similarly, a team leader may host a celebratory happy hour, but then you have some employees who don't drink alcohol. How do you build a shared culture that makes everyone feel welcome?
I think it's getting to know your people. It comes down to knowing who your people are, what matters to them. And then I think also giving them permission, whether it's, again, you have a big celebration, some partners want to be in the room and want to raise their hands and speak, and other partners want to type it in chat. And making those moments okay and knowing, but you have to know your partners. And that's where it comes from. Because you could easily slip into this, you must have your camera on. I think there was a point during the pandemic where we were all like, you have to have your camera on, and we got camera fatigue. And that can make people feel insecure and overwhelmed. And so, again, knowing your team and creating the space for them is what is inherently at the heart of it.
And so, how do you ensure that the same cultural rituals resonate for business partners such as retail as well as for your corporate teams?
Yeah. They are, I straddle um, corporate and retail. So I sit within partner resources, but I also have our first store that reports into me, and I'm a part of that team. And I think, especially as we're getting, as we're saying now, back to Starbucks, actually bringing those two cultures much closer together. What it comes down to, coffee's always going to matter in it, always going to matter for me in it. But what it comes down to is that we're all connected to a bigger purpose. We all know what back to Starbucks means. We all know that whether I work in um, my supply chain organization, or I'm in real estate, or in legal, or partner resources, or anything, technology, the coffee doesn't get in the cup without me. And so we're all working towards the same thing. So I believe clarity of vision and priorities makes the culture live more freely in a way that feels authentic to the organization versus like you're trying to force it together. But we do sometimes speak different languages. Um, in a store, a partners in the opening shift are probably doing nitro shots or undertows. And here at the support center and in the corporate space, that probably looks a little bit different because we're creating a ritual of a coffee tasting that's happening before a meeting. So they do have their own unique characteristics, but at the end, it's about coming together over a cup of coffee.
Yeah. So, are there any specific rituals or practices that were initially employee driven rather than leadership driven?
I think I talk about our partner networks and getting involved and bringing people together to create space is much more partner driven than company driven. And even to the point of identifying opportunities, um, needs for different groups. I think the other thing I would say is we have something called the Cup Fund. And the Cup Fund at Starbucks is actually, it stands for Caring Unites Partners. And it was started by partners for partners. And it is a fund that we can all either through payroll deduction or I can round up at the register when I go to a Starbucks. And that fund exists when partners have a personal crisis or a hurricane or something where they need a grant to help them get through. And that was actually started by two partners, and it has since taken on a life of its own. I personally have benefited from it. My son has personally benefited from it. And I know so many partners that it gave them, again, this opportunity for us to be in it together. Whether we're in the same store or in the same, state, we can still be a part of it together. I think those two pieces um, and things are really important. And I would also go on to say our recognition program and we call them our green apron cards. To me, that is more, while the organization created the tool, it's our partners that actually bring it to life. And it's their moments with each other and celebrating each other. Many times it's partner to partner, but I am starting to see more than ever, it's celebrating our partners for the impact they have on their customers. And that's what gets me really excited.
Yeah, well, and there is a very authentic feeling to having your colleague, catch you in the moment doing something very generous, very sweet, and versus, maybe something that feels a bit more formal. So I do love that idea.
Take your job seriously, but not yourself too seriously kind of
Yeah.
vibe that
Yeah.
makes it mean something a little different.
We'll be back in just a few moments. Stay with us.
The job market is evolving faster than ever. Are your talent strategies keeping pace? Join us in Dallas, Texas, April 19th until the 22nd at SHRM Talent 2026 and dive into AI integration, essential skills, development, and the future of work. Learn more at shrm.org/talent26-podcast.
Some days it feels like you're just running to keep up. With SHRM, you set the pace and you stay ahead. SHRM membership now gives you access to business intelligence, advanced benchmarking, and in-the-moment support from HR experts. Rely on SHRM because if it's a work thing, it's a SHRM thing.
So there's another layer to this conversation, the moments where recognition and culture building may not quite hit the mark, right? Some employees will roll their eyes at gestures that are meant to engage them, or they'll resist in participating in ways that we simply did not expect. So I want to get your take on a few questions like that. There's a difference between meaningful recognition and symbolic gestures. And, we kind of touched on that just a moment ago. But if you think along the lines of, thanks for helping our company exceed our financial goals, we're celebrating by providing you with a pizza party. How do you make sure that you're doing something that actually resonates with employees?
I think there is when you get to a scale, right? And you want to, I don't know, many times we talk about peanut buttering it across, like everybody gets a pizza, right? I actually, I know firsthand that doesn't work in the store I support because so many of my partners have different cultures, they have different dietary restrictions. And so I think inherently it goes back to what do your partners or employees value? And you have to keep that at the heart of this. It can feel really good to say, well, we gave everybody a pizza party. But at the end of the day, you're going to have a big cost there. But what you really want is to continue the momentum you've already gained and accelerated. And so it has to, there's not a one size fits all answer to culture to recognition. It has to matter to the person you're recognizing, or it becomes very performative.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And the coffee is the conversation starter, and then where you go from there is what matters. And so each conversation is an opportunity to, as you mentioned, get to know your partners, get to know even what they're doing outside of their out of those four walls when they go home after work, and understand what matters to them. And I think that's where that authenticity of the connection comes from. What do you think the hardest truth about fostering belonging, that most companies are afraid to admit?
I think it's hard to just say like every moment matters. It's not a one and done. You don't get to take a big swing, stick something on the wall, and say I'm done with it. It matters how you show up in every moment, and it's got to be consistent. And you've also, and now in today's age, you've got to admit when maybe you didn't hit the mark right, and acknowledge it and move on. And I think that's the hard thing. And when it comes down to it, culture, I am Starbucks to my partners in the store. It's me. And how I show up matters. So it comes down to our individual leaders and their ownership and the way they live our mission and values, and they support their partners. If our leaders don't have it, it doesn't matter how hard I work at it or how many pizza parties or whatever we have. If our leaders aren't living it, it becomes just talk.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I think sometimes as leaders, it's easy for people to forget just how important those little moments are, whether it's a quick moment of recognition when somebody's, really having a very stressful day, just that little moment to say thank you, or you did a great job in that scenario and I watched you do it and I'm so proud of you, versus those larger, events, the pizza party, the more formal award. It is those day-to-day interactions that really can matter so much.
Yeah, and I think that's so important what you said there, because you could wait for the pizza party. You could wait for the big gesture, and the moment's gone. And so that it's like in the moment coaching. Recognition and coaching to me go hand in hand because both of them build trust, and recognition and a want to do more and to be a part of it.
Yeah. How do you address situations where employees feel a sense of belonging within their team, but maybe not necessarily within the larger organization? And you had said something just a moment ago, how you are Starbucks, right, to your store. So I think it kind of starts there. But what else?
I think, when I find resistance, let's say to the culture, or you alluded to it earlier, the eye rolling, or a lack of participation, to be really honest. Like when there's just a lack of participation, I think it's so critical to understand the why. You can get really frustrated with it. You can get disappointed with it. You can try to muscle it and talk a little louder, be a little more animated, make it a little more fun. But at the end of the day, if you don't understand the why behind the reluctance or the friction that maybe you're feeling that is bigger than you, I think, and it takes a tremendous amount of time. especially in the world today. Just at my, I talk about this Pike Place store. There's about 60 partners that work there. And I have from 19 years old to 76 years old that work in that store. And the generations and the things that are important to each of them, it's almost mind-numbing. But it's taking the moments to understand where they're coming from, what they're feeling, and then helping them to see. I think the other thing, I'm a believer. Starbucks changed my life, allowed me to become me. And I have to also understand that I had a journey to get there. I can't force that onto my partners or any partners. They have to get there themselves, and I can't ever ask them to believe the way I do. I have to let them have their own journey. I can have a conversation. I can talk about why I believe, but I can't force it on them to say, but you should trust so-and-so. I've met them. That's great. But it's not at the heart of it. They have to find their way in the journey.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's just having the curiosity for the different journeys is the key, right?
Yeah. I think for me, curiosity, when I think of back to Starbucks and just continuing, we have so many new partners. We have new leaders. We have new partners. We're at this space where, yes, we still have a lot of tenure. But if we don't come together with curiosity for the person who's been here 22 years, and is like, oh, and the new person that comes in is like, you know what, we should try. And saying, oh, well, we've tried that before. It doesn't work here. It's leaning just a little bit into that and saying, well, what didn't work before? Again, that curiosity and having the conversation. And that's where coffee comes in because it helps you with that conversation. And at least a place to start.
Yeah, that's right. It gets the conversation started. So, because we're talking coffee, let's take our own little coffee break and step away from some of the seriousness and have, we'll end with a little fun. So, you mentioned you've had the opportunity to drink coffee in different countries with different people. What's one coffee related ritual or tradition you've seen in another culture that you think could inspire workplace connections?
Ooh. I would go back to Costa Rica. Pura vida, as they say in Costa Rica, it's the afternoon coffee break. Like it's truly a ritual where they go, they step away from the workday, and they connect. And there's in coffee origin countries, there is such a tangible connection to the product that there is a level of honor or respect that they hold it in such high esteem. And to gift it or to share it with somebody else means just a little bit more. And I think they don't ask permission to slow down and have that. And I think we should take more of that time and not ask permission for it.
Yeah, I love that. I myself am guilty of having to remind myself to step away. You know, in the US, we are notorious for multitasking, right? So we'll often, sit at our desks and continue to do work and then take a sip of coffee. And so I love the reminder of consciously stepping away and having that moment because there certainly is a much better opportunity to get that connection where you can have those memorable moments with a partner during that time, or even if it's a time by yourself, just to refill your own cup. So I have a question for you. You are in the coffee house getting your morning coffee. What is your go-to order?
So first thing in the morning, it is a triple short blonde ristretto Americano with 1 pump of brown sugar Or during the holidays, that's 1 pump of sugar cookie. But that is my go-to every single morning. And then the journey continues from there. It doesn't stop there for sure.
And so, can I ask you how many cups of coffee you drink during the day?
You can. I wonder if I can quantify it. Because I mean, when I started at Starbucks, I was a 4 time a day customer
Oh my.
before I even joined. So if you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah.
I probably drink 5 or 6
Okay.
throughout the day, and then I also, will do an iced tea in the afternoon, maybe, or a shaken espresso. The possibilities are endless.
Definitely. I can't even begin to imagine. I am a very simple gal. We have a Starbucks right down the street here from us. We visit it at least daily. I'm a flat white gal, so little less complicated than yours, but you're an expert. So you'll have to send me some recommendations after this episode. So, lastly, I want you to put on your green apron one more time. If HR were a special coffee drink, what would it be called and what ingredients would it have?
Oh,
This is not a trick
I
question.
know. Well,
I was like, this might be a loaded question.
no, like I kind of have 2 answers, I think. So my immediate answer, like in the moment, is Pike Place roast. Is a cup of Pike Place roast because it's how it all started. And Pike Place roast is about being approachable, creating space, and honoring not only where it all started, but the possibilities in the future. And I think for culture, that's so important. You not only have to know where you started, you have to understand how far you've come and dream of the possibilities ahead. So that's one answer, Pike Place roast. The other answer I have, and I kind of threw it back a little bit, is we had a coffee that we don't have in our coffee houses anymore, and it's called House Blend. And there's a lot of companies that have a house blend, but when Starbucks created House Blend, we called it the welcome mat, and it was to invite others in when what they knew about Starbucks was the dark roast, the bitter, the French roast, that type of thing. But the house roast, the house blend, was to invite you in. And to me, that is what HR is. It's about creating this space where we can all thrive, and bring our authentic selves. And to me, House Blend does that.
I love that. Yeah, I love both of them. So very, very good choices. Well, Sandy, this has been such a fun conversation. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course. Thank you for having me, and enjoy the moments out there. That to me is
Yeah.
what culture is made of.
Absolutely. That's one of the best parts about coming to work. So that's going to do it for this week's episode of Honest HR, and we will catch you next time.
Hello, friends. We hope this week's episode gave you the candid tips and insights you need to keep growing and thriving in your career. Honest HR is part of HR Daily, the content series from SHRM that delivers a daily newsletter directly to your inbox, filled with all the latest HR news and research. Sign up at shrm.org/HR Daily, plus follow SHRM on social media for even more clips and stories. Like, share, and add to the comments, because real change starts with real talk.
SHRM.
This podcast is approved for 0.5 professional development credits, also known as PDCs, towards SHRM CP and SHRM SCP recertification. Enter the following PDC activity ID in your SHRM activity portal to log your credit: 27HKQX6. Again, the PDC code is 27HKQX6. This code expires April 1st, 2027.